Yeah, everyone, this is Thermite, and this is Battle Angel Alita, Last Order, chapters 44 to 49. That's volume 8. I don't know why I did that in reverse order, but it feels good. I might do it like that from now on. As always, as is, I think, tradition at this point, I'm going to look at the thumbnail I made while in a weird haze, and I have no idea what this could possibly represent. I don't really want to speculate on it, so... Like, it looks so very different from everything else, and I didn't immediately see Alita on there, so I don't want to analyze that too much, because whatever it is, I imagine it's going to be really interesting and different, and I want to go into that more or less blind. Alright, so what is she doing here? Hey! Like, he's not even in his normal outfit anymore. Like, Colonel Payne at this point is just sort of, like, a librarian. Oh, man. I can't believe that he's had so much, not development per se, but like his role in the story has changed so much post-mortem as just like this geist in her mind. So now you know who you were and what you did. Are the revelations enough? Are you able to be a normal person? Right. I do like I am siding with him, or rather what he represents in this struggle. Like you can't write off things like that. I know that for actual veterans, they do have to write that off as a way to recover, and that's fine. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't in your own personal journey, but I feel like, as I am personally, I feel like war is something that you can't justify too much. If you create justifications for the sake of your own sanity, after a while you will believe them. And if you do that, I feel like you will warp what war means in your mind. That's where the glorification of war comes in. That's where, like, these crazy fantastical ideas of war as something that is honorable or that is interesting or that is, you know, exciting, like those all stem from misinterpretations of the actual horrors of war. And I don't want to get too sidetracked on that, but I do think that this guilt is important to keep in mind. If not like on an individual level, sure, like move on from that, but from a societal level, like when it comes to the collective conscious, I believe that it is important to keep Colonel Payne's words in mind here. Go back to where you belong. Even if you are a war criminal or a dropout who quit before meeting her goals, these people won't judge you. It's really interesting that he's like, again, his geist is the one that is pushing her to this direction. Like, I guess in general, he's supposed to be her guilt. He's supposed to be what holds her back. But at the same time, like, I can't help but agree with him on some aspects of this. I can only stumble forward. I'm so graceless that way. Sorry, figure. Man, this is insane. Like, it's not insane, but it's incredible how Figure is very much the maiden in waiting. The character who is the love interest, but we barely ever see him. In the same way that there are so many stories where the main character, the main dude, like, falls in love with a girl, and she is always in love with him, but she rarely plays into the actual picture. She is just, the prize at the end. It's really cool that Figure is basically that for Alita. One which will change you, heart and soul. Then there will be no home left for you forever. What could he possibly know? Or rather, what could Alita be suspecting? Like, is there something else out there that is understandable on a gut level, that is that dangerous? Very well, that'll be off for now. Ooh. Brute force is no match for the depths of the psyche. Oh, that's so cool, especially considering the the contents of last volume and how it delved into that sort of, like, that almost treatise on the mind. Like, Alita really has been a series about the mind ever since the start, and it's really cool to see Last Order really digging deep into that. Oof. Alright, time to dive deep into Melchizedek. Oh man, I'm not gonna say it. This is better than a bucket of flan. Alright. I'm quite excited to see what she's gonna look like when she goes in, or, quote unquote, goes in. I won't let my naivete result in the death of many. Right. But I do think that he's not lying here. I do think that Ping is going to try and just get Lou's brain out without trying to do anything else. And in that case, I can't imagine it's going to lead to, mass destruction or anything. Or maybe. Like, I don't think he's lying about this either. Like, but then again, it might be that there is a way to do it without doing anything dangerous, but he's looking 2 steps ahead. He's seeing that even if they do this properly, like, they'll have to fight their way out or something. Of course, as a scholar of karmatronic dynamics, I can say that the impact of this plan on their future world are, well, to make a long story short, we won't know the results until we try, right? I mean, he's not lying, but he's not really giving us any comfort here, right? The very act of living and doing is ripe with evil. Evil as stated by Flan. But right. Yeah, I mean, she knows that better than anything else. She knows that if you take an action, that very nature of it will lead to, what is potentially evil. Everything she has done, like, she's killed so many people. She's committed so many dark actions. Or actions that she's justified to herself, but that have led to horrible things. Alright, let's do this. Ooh, Data Alita. Now, I don't fully remember it, but I do think one of the covers has a Data Alita on it. Again, I haven't looked at those in forever, but like something about the markings on her, it seems familiar. What you're seeing is a representation of Camelot. Okay, huh. I thought Melchizedek, like, I thought that was like a Kabbalah concept. So I guess we're tying in Arthurian legends? I mean, I'm not complaining. It's just, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, named after the Knights of the Round Table. Okay, very direct with that. Mordred was the self-destruct unit. Arthur was the unifying unit. Fair enough, fair enough. Oh, I didn't know that. Like, I've heard a lot of different tellings of the tale, but I don't think I've ever sat down and read, like, a collected history of the stories of the Knights of the Round Table. So, okay, that's cool. Aww. That would be Morgan Le Fay, the Fata Morgana. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. So I have to imagine that Kairula must have been part of this at some point. Like, during the construction procedure, she must have come in at some point and taken just that data in order to make sure that they could not reconstruct everything. Okay, sure. It's worth a shot, all right. Is it snow? Okay, so that cover image was snow. I'm not going to look at it again because I don't want to get more context, but okay. Yeah, that's a cool looking design. Ooh, a magnetic superstorm that washed over Earth, paralyzing most electrical instruments. It's not long after. Okay. Oh, so it was like a combination of 2 horrible events at the same, like not at the same time, but very, very close together. So we didn't have any technology, and then after that, like shortly after that, an asteroid hits, and I assume that was like nuclear winter, basically, or not nuclear winter, but like basically just an eternal winter. Winter had come, the long, cold impact winter. All right, I don't think we've ever talked about this in the series, but that's, oh man, the timeline of the world is so cool. Like, the fact that we could put in something like this and just never have talked about it until right now. Oh, wow. That is some straight-up day after tomorrow imagery. Though, I mean, like, in general, the Statue of Liberty being destroyed is, I guess that's relatively common, but I think it was day after tomorrow where you have that famous image of her, like, frozen over. But I don't think she was toppled, actually, so I guess that is different. Like a white skull watched of its putrid flesh, the view of the fallen city is beautiful. Oh boy, what is this, edgelord? Wait, this is Kairula? Vilma Fakiri. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make sure to write this down specifically. I feel like this is going to show up in like the main timeline at some point. Did I put her name down somewhere? I guess I'll just sneak it in here. Alright, and then I remember this guy from the cover. He's more of a gunslinger, I guess. Not what I'd expect in, like, the Eternal Winter. Also, I'm wondering if she's a vampire yet. Like, I assume Kairula is her vampire name. Like, when she became a vampire, she took that name. Because of the Sanguis part of it. It was our first battle on the new continent, though it was more of a one-sided slaughter, if you ask me. Also, this is interesting in its own right, that all of this information is presumably either within Merlin or within Fortuna. Yeah, bad idea for like, you know, long-term fighting, especially in a land where people aren't going to make more bullets. Ammo frozen for 10 years won't do you any good. Okay, I think they are just vampires then. This land is now the domain of the Cognates. Okay, so they're a band of vampires traveling the wastelands. Oh my gosh, I didn't think Alita could do something like this. And also, I'd like to point out, I personally do not like post-apocalyptic fiction. And even though Alita has always had little tinges of that, like, it is definitely a lived-in world, a world long after things were good. At the same time, like, it didn't really bother me, and I don't think this is going to bother me either. Because, like, Alita has a certain feel to it. And I think that this arc, no matter how, like, post-apocalyptic it gets, I feel like it's going to maintain that same feeling. Even if the genre shifts. Like, Alita's done so many different things. It's been a sports manga for a bit. It's been, like, you know, an assassination manga. It's been a love romance. It's been just a slice of life at times. So, vampire post-apocalyptic fiction, I think you can do it, while still remaining true to what the series is really like. My name is Vilma Fakiri. I was born in Erdely in 1808 AD. Okay. So, I don't think we know what time it is right now, but assuming it is, like, when this manga was written, it's been at least 100 years, if not 200. Yeah, so, they are legit vampires, it seems. Like, legitimately, not like bioorganic vampires, not vampires that were created due to sci-fi technology. It seems like they are legitimately, like, vampires in the, not the traditional sense necessarily, but at least in the, like, the general sense of, you know, they have an infection that gives them supernatural power, or, like, nigh supernatural power. So it could just be straight up supernatural. Alita is a series that does have supernatural power within it, so I'd allow it. 4 cold years came and went. He was born after the catastrophe. Oh boy. Okay. I think that's a cool way of putting it. Like, even if they aren't magic vampires, like, if you just consider them to be mutants, as Trinidad said, like, he straight up called her I forgot what specific type it was, but he did, like, classify her as a certain type of mutants. So, overall, they are still human. Even if they do drink blood, that doesn't mean that they aren't intrinsically still human, in the same way that cyborgs are still human. I love that his name's Colin Farrell. I hated them, but you never know what something means to you until you lose it. That's so cool. Like, it ties in with what she said at the very start. Like, she liked the lights of the city. In the same way, like, I think Mob Psycho was the series that brought this up. And this isn't really a spoiler. It's more of just an idea that if you have the power to destroy the world, does that make you better than humanity? Most likely not, because humanity creates things like Coca-Cola, or like vitamins, or like skin cream. Things that aren't particularly, like, mind-blowing, but they are things that an individual can make. Like, they are things that are only possible because of infrastructure, and because of tons of people working together for a common purpose. Not necessarily an altruistic purpose. It could be as simple as, like, oh, we want to make money, or we want to make a fizzy drink, but something about that just makes me incredibly happy. That idea of, like, you can't be separate from humanity. Even if you individually are stronger than any individual human, the construct that is humanity, or the culture of humans, is so big and so important that if it were to be lost, it would be a loss for everyone, regardless of how strong you are or how self-sustaining you are. Right. Precisely because of this age, the accomplishments of our forefathers cannot be consigned to oblivion. So, to talk about yet another series I'm reading, Dr. Stone is a fantastic series, and it has a similar idea to this. I'm not going to, like, spoil anything, but I like this idea of, hey, even if the world goes to heck, that doesn't mean you have to throw away science. In fact, it's the exact opposite. You need to keep it aflame, so that someday, like, if this information is useful to future humans, like, they'll have it. They don't have to rediscover it. Yeah, in a few years or a few hundred, but it will come. This harsh winter will someday end. I'm interested to see what she's going to say about this, though. Like, is it just that they were hunted as vampires? Is is it what I assume from other vampire stories? Or is it something else? Like, were they lab rats or something? Right? They had every right to their misgivings, especially since she is Cognates. Like, as soon as she goes back to her tribe or to her people and they're hungry, like, she might just say, hey, I know where there's food. I know where there's stuff we can take. I feel like, I love him because he's an optimist, but at the same time, it's not right. He's endangering this entire human settlement. I'd like you, Vilma, to be our emissary of peace, but it's not that I don't trust her. I don't trust the other vampires. I'll let you suck my blood when you get hungry. Aww, so cute. So I feel like the Cognates are either going to come in and kill everyone, or potentially, like some other third party will come in and kill everyone while she is out there trying to convince her friends to not kill everyone. Okay, so his name is Jacko. He's Zapolska. These are some good names. Oh boy, he's not doing so well. Is he going through hunger pains? That's what I'm thinking of. Although, considering her hat is there, maybe it's just that he's freaking out because he thinks she's dead. Oh, my love, Vilma, fire of my life. Aww. Ow. And this is pretty nice. This is fantastic. Right, like, if she does truly love him, she can't hide this from him. But at the same time, I feel so conflicted about this. This wine was made by those who saved my life. And that's actually really interesting in its own right. Even if they hate humans, like, they can't reproduce. Even in the sense of, like, assuming that they can turn others into cognates by biting them, they still cannot reproduce. Like, they can only pass on their gift/curse to humans. So, at some point, they will have to die out. And then, if, like, either they have to kill everyone else off and make it so that there are no more humans in the future, or alternatively, they have to make peace with the fact that they'll be gone someday and the humans won't. Right, he'd lived 5 times longer than I had, and his hatred of the humans ran far deeper. That's really cool. I really hope he's not screwing with her, or, just trying to make her feel better. Like, I would like to think that because he's lived this long, even if he didn't like humans in the past, like, because of this eternal winter, he would be willing to decide, like, okay, well, I've lived quite a long time, I'm probably going to outlive this winter, so screw it, let's let humans live, and perhaps, maybe perhaps, this new breed of humans will eventually not hate us. Oh man, this is really worrisome. I was just thinking how wonderful it will be not to have to hate anyone anymore. Our souls so long to slip the chains of hate. Okay, based on this, I have to assume that what he's saying here isn't that it's a good thing that, he also wants to slip the chains of hate, but rather he wants to reaffirm that she should hate humans. He wants to make it clear, and he wants to do that by killing all the humans. I'm so scared. Oh no! Oh no! Are they gonna kill them? Oh no, I'm so scared. Oh no, this is straight up a trap. This is not okay. Oh fuck. I'm not okay with this. God damn it, humanity, what are you doing? Fuck. God damn it. Oh my god. This is the true nature of humans. And he knew, oh god. Okay, wow, my heart made a full 180. Like, the fact that he stepped into this trap knowing that some of them might die, knowing that he was putting himself in danger, simply because he wanted to prove a point to Vilma. That is, wow. I've never felt more disappointed in humanity. Stay here and be a mother for John, we need you. But humans are a flock of sheep without a shepherd, and we are the wolves that hunt them. These are some strong Vampire the Requiem vibes. It might be Masquerade, but I didn't really play a lot of Masquerade. I do like this idea of vampires who consider their role to not be evil, but rather, like, humans are sheep, they are beneath us, and therefore, like, we tend to them. We prune the flock. We are ultimately good because they shouldn't all survive. I did not wish to see thee betrayed in earth. But that wouldn't never accept how evil humans could be unless I did this. Oh. And I'm really scared about this because he's not, like, we haven't seen him in the future. And maybe that's because he did survive and he's just, he's somewhere else where we haven't seen him. Or perhaps he's dead. I don't know. Carriers of the V virus are called type V mutants. I want to know all of this. Okay, right. So they don't call themselves vampires. They call themselves the Cognates. I'm willing to accept that, definitely. All right, so they can eat normal food. Like, it's not like they'll vomit it up. They're not. Their bodies aren't corpses. They really are mutated humans. Eternal youth. They do die. No paranormal abilities. Okay, good to know. They do have, like, superhuman abilities, but not supernatural abilities. Okay. Lose the ability to reproduce. Okay. Huh, that's interesting in its own right. That devout Christians could form stigmata based on the cross. Like, even though they don't have any supernatural abilities, I have to assume that must be, that must be a purely mental thing then. Like, if a Cognate believes themselves to be a traditional vampire, and they understand those traditional vampire weaknesses, they might fall prey to them. But they don't, like, necessarily fall prey to them. Will die with a stake through their heart. Yes? Well, yeah, anyone would. That's awesome. Depends on individual taste. Also, this is a beautiful shot of Kyrilla. Like, she looks so good there. She's so inviting. I want my neck to be bitten. Survival rates decrease when the temperature goes above 25 degrees Celsius. Understandable. It is currently above 25 degrees Celsius in my room, and I hate it. I feel like if I were a vampire virus, I would absolutely be more aggressive. If I were bitten by a vampire, I would most likely die because it's too hot. Okay. The suicide rate within 10 years of infection may be as high as 60%. I love all these little details we're getting. Like, it tells a full story of its own about the Cognate of the past. The Cognate that we'll most likely never see in Alita. This is so cool! Like, you could genuinely run a game of Requiem in the world of Battle Angel Alita. It's blowing my mind that that's possible. This is so cool. Okay, I'm done reading, so I'm gonna stop saying that's cool and move on. You're the slit-mouthed woman? What? Oh? The taxi ghost, Turbo Granny, Hanako of the toilet, are those you too? Okay, so she's not every Japanese urban legend, but she was a couple of them. Oh, that's so silly. I love it. Oh, that is cool. All right, phase 47. I'm going to try and say things that aren't that's cool. I've been overusing the term cool, but you gotta admit, this entire arc has been very, very cool in every sense of the word. I will kill anyone who insults my wife, whoever it may be. He's such a badass. I mean, he's not wrong, but in the same sense, I feel obligated to be upset at him. Like, a humanity that is this exclusive, this xenophobic, is not a humanity I specifically want to survive. I know that's really harsh to say. Like, I don't expect everyone who is watching this reaction to agree with me on this aspect. I know this is pretty controversial, but I don't know. At times I have felt very anti-human, despite being human myself. And I know that's unhealthy because, I mean, I am human. I can't change what I am. And it's not like I hate other people at all. But, man, like, when I read stories about other sentient creatures or other sentient races, I always do have that twinge in my mind of, if they're better than we are, I'd be okay if they were to survive and humans weren't to survive. But in this case, like, I can't say that because, like, everyone here is human. Mutant or otherwise, they're all human. So if anyone has to survive, it's gotta be, like, some humans here, but, it bothers me so much. From a pure survival perspective, I get what he's saying. But from a moral perspective, I don't want him to win, but him winning, quote-unquote, is good for the rest of humanity. This truly is a difficult, like, place to put anyone. I will spare the ferals. This I vow upon my sword. Oh boy. Humanity's wisdom and its great legacies. That is interesting in its own way. That, yeah, the reason he hates humanity is because he knows humanity. That's what he's saying right here. What Colin has been saying this whole time has been a very rose-tinted thing. In the same way that everything I've said in this reaction about humanity has been very rose-tinted. It is coming from a place of privilege. I've had a pretty great life. Like, don't get me wrong. So I can't hope to expound upon the good and evil of humanity when I don't personally understand just how evil humans can be, nor do I understand how good humans can be. I haven't seen those extremes as much as I might think I have. I am a knight unlike thee, and I keep my vows. Thus the other shall pay the price. Which is honestly possibly worse for Colin, to see that because of his actions, because he tried to protect them, they're all going to be slaughtered. I can't say that's just, but I can understand how it's an ironic punishment. A requiem for Zapal. Now I genuinely do think that we'll see his descendants in the future at some point. We've got to, right? Like, I don't recall a Colin in the present, so I doubt he's become immortal, and I doubt Methuselahization has existed. Like, I doubt it existed at this point, but I'm sure some of his descendants must still exist in the current timeline, right? And so it is that thine innocence is deserving of 1,000 deaths. I don't think he's going to kill him, though. He does stick to his word, right? Okay, so just his arm. Oh, God. Oh, what temptation. And Colin, or not Colin, but the boy once said specifically, you can drink my blood, so... Oh, nope. She won't do it. She will not do it. My tears froze as they fell, shattering in the wind and mingling with the snow. I would never hear John play the guitar again. This is truly just a complete and utter tragedy. Thus the feral shelter was destroyed. Snow and ice without end, eternal winter, fewer and fewer living creatures. God, it's so gothic. I really do like the idea of being the last two people on Earth and then dying together. It feels genuinely romantic in this very dark way. It is very much, like, suitable for a vampire. Or for a pair of vampires. Heavens my, thine imagination knows no bounds. Oh, this is so cool. This is such a cool idea. The end was near, so we felt. Ooh, they're going all the way across America. Large arch. I don't remember where this is. I have seen an arch like this before. Like, I know this is a famous landmark, but I could not tell you where it is from. Who the heck is this guy? Oh dear. Oh, geez. All right, Morse is done. Okay. That's one way to try and get them to follow your commands, right? The name's Arthur Farrell, and I belong to the Bradley shelter. Yet another Farrell. This is so cool. It really is a grudge taking down this bloodline for generations. This is so cool seeing it from the side of the vampires, too. My grandpa wants to see you. Oh my. I'm the one who should apologize. Yeah, I mean, this is quite a difficult thing to talk about. Man, what a twisted life they've led. You must restart Merlin. It's the last hope of civilization. So, the system already existed prior to this, to this winter. Huh, that's interesting in its own right. That also means that, did she save the world? Because I could see that, I guess. That maybe she restarted Merlin, everything worked as planned, and then 100, 200 years after that, things were going bad, so then she took the Fata Morgana from it in order to either to destabilize it, or after Alita did her whole thing and caused the system to go haywire, she may have taken the Fata Morgana from it to keep it from ever being fully fixed. All right, we're getting a vampire fight. What a way to end this volume, too. punch through the thick clouds one day. I can't believe how different this arc feels. Like, it does still have that feel of Alita to it, and I can't quite explain what it is. Like, it's not techie, it's not really cyberpunk, it's not a certain way of looking at the worlds, but there's something intrinsic here that feels like the same series. But at the same time, everything else has changed so much. It is absolutely incredible that the mangaka can do something like this. Okay. I can't explain in scientific terms, but I describe it as the will to shoot. That's really cool because it also shows that she's not a bullet timer. Like, when a bullet is flying through the air, she can't dodge it. She has to, like, see where someone is aiming, and then from there, she has to move. Or in this case, she has to, like, detect the bloodlust of that person before they fire. And from there, she can figure out where to dodge. I think that's really cool. By the way, I haven't really been talking about it, but I don't like the fact that random letters are just missing here. I don't know if that's a Viz problem or if that's a Kodansha problem. I want to say a Viz problem, but I don't know. I feel like if it was, someone at the very least would have looked at some of this and noticed, like, hey, some of these letters are missing. Let's retypeset it. So I have to imagine maybe it's a Kodansha thing. Like, maybe, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And again, just to reiterate, these are the like the current scans that came from the most recent indie bundle that Kodansha did. So I assume these are like the latest, like this is what you'll get if you pay for the omnibuses, like digitally. Which is really strange because apparently these have problems that are only found in the physical Viz versions, but not in the physical Kodansha, like omnibuses that these are, quote unquote. I think that's very strange. Anyways, let's move right along. Oh, wow, just sliced up his arms there. Is that a tongue attack? Okay, never mind. It's not a tongue, but rather her sword. Oh my god. If not for that, I'd been killed. Oh wow. It seemed that Arthur did not have an ear for music. This is... yeah... I think this would be a really bad way to try and become friends with the shelter people. To potentially kill someone, and if not kill them, then to, like... I mean, the chances of them dying are pretty high. Although, that whole thing about how, like, in hotter climates, you're more likely to die. I feel like that's set up so that if someone exists in this eternal winter, they could go outside and have a much higher chance of survival. And you can never have a child. That's when she slaps him. Because, yeah, they need to have a kid. They need to continue the bloodline. That's so great. Huh. What is it, then? Like, the way they've been talking about it, it seems like they're building it, but that can't be the case. They can't have that much technology. But then again, because of that electromagnetic wave, like, because of the blast from the sun, it should have destroyed all previous technology. So I guess they have to be making it. And I guess that makes sense because they are learning higher concepts in school. So I guess they should still have the information for it. But that's, oh man, that's so lofty. That's such a cool idea. So here it is, Merlin. The wave function collapse monitor. Okay. So Pendragon did exist in the past. Also, 2006, that's a direct date. That shows that before this whole event happened, it had to have been, like, at least 2006, if not later. Okay. Foretold a huge meteor impact, but Dr. Farrell was ignored by his superiors. The next year, it all came true. Okay, so 2011 is when the world ended. Although, to be fair, I think it might be 2012 then. Like, maybe this was late 2011, and then... because... especially because of the kind of series Alita is, I feel like they absolutely would have tied in the 2012 Mayan end of the calendar thing. We'll see about that. This is so cool. I love this, like, the continuing trend of pseudoscience that is legitimate science within the world of Alita. Like, the fact that it really can predict the future. The device reads the Akashic records. Oh, that's so cool. Wait, really? Rudolf Steiner. So, from 1861 to 1925. That's how young the concept of the Akashic Records is? That's really surprising. I thought that was a super ancient concept. Though, to be fair, a lot of, like, modern 19th century, 20th century magic, quote-unquote, does try to purport itself as being super old. So, maybe that is like an intentional thing that is supposed to feel older than it really is. They don't predict, but it says turns real. That's all different ways of saying basically the same thing. But yeah, it shows probable states as they collapse into one fixed reality. So, like, it's that question of, like, was it always going to do that? Or is it because you observed it that it became that? Merlin is a symbol for everyone to look to the future. Books tell us how people used to fly into the skies, even travel into space. But look at us now, in caves so long, we've lost all ambition. This is one thing that I really do like, that, like, before, we could have potentially thought that the Alita future is based on our life, like, in our world, but it was just constant progress. But here we're seeing that no, that utopia that happens at some point happens after this near extinction event, after this ice age. Like, between the end of that to when Alita starts, like, humanity managed to get that incredible. We managed to build a tower to the heavens. We made, like, an awesome civilization there, and then we stuck a second civilization on the other end of that tower. Like, what in the world? And it's all fallen again, but people are still living. Man. A mirror that reflects people's hopes and fears. Haruka's words may have been the most apt of all. Wow. Just wow. I want to look at some of the detail here. Man, that's so cool. Like, I love how a lot of these are still blotches, even coming closer, but they do give off the impression of flowers. It's sort of like how Bob Ross paints, almost, where, like, even if you can see that it's clearly not, like, these aren't all individual petals, it doesn't matter, because those little imprints all look like petals. Like, no matter how you try to rationalize it as, oh no, they're just like little dots, your mind will automatically fill in all those tiny little pricks here and there and there and there. And you'll see all of those tiny feathers, or not feathers. If you see feathers, that's a whole different thing. But you can see all of those petals in your mind's eye. That is, man, art is so cool. Art is amazing. Passion yearns within the quiet melody. Is it thine own? Is she gonna be scared? Yeah. Yeah. If thou hast the grace of the devil, the gift of eternal life will be bestowed upon thee. Oh, Victor. Oh no, that's where we're ending it? That's where we're ending it? Also, the contrast between this, which I assume was the original sketch, to this is absolutely insane. But you can still see the passion of it. Like, even without, like, any facial features here, you can still feel the passion of the bite. And you can still see, like, the shock of her, like, oh god, I've been bit. Like, that actually carried over quite nicely. Wow, wow, wow. Alright, so that was Volume 8 of Last Order. Wow. I don't have much to say about it. Apart from just, this is not what I expected. But it is something I absolutely love. Like, part of what I didn't like about the tournament was that it was going on for quite a while. And even though we were seeing, like, bits and pieces of the other competing teams, it was still more or less very similar stuff. It was all very not the same, but it all, like, fell within the same banner of this is a tournament and these are the people competing in the tournaments. It was getting a little too samey for me. And I guess that's what I don't like about fighting arcs. Like, it's not just the fighting, it's the fact that they tend to follow a certain pattern. And it's not that I don't like that pattern, but rather that pattern lends itself to being very long. And I don't like long things. Like, I like variety. I like it when a series can shake things up. And this is nothing if not shaking things up. Alright, I'm looking forward to Volume 9. It is far too late for me to do Volume 9 right now, but man, I really wish I could have read a little more earlier this week, because I had a lot of time this week to read manga. And I did read some other stuff, but wow. This volume was so good. It makes me want to read the rest of the series really, really soon, so hopefully I will. But I don't want to do it all without putting out some of these videos. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about stuff. So, alright, I'm rambling. I'm going to cut it off now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to talk about this without any spoilers, please feel free to leave comments in the comment section. Bye for now. Nya nya.